very comfortable around you.
I don't have to put on a face or do anything to change myself.
I'd say you probably judge yourself more than you judge other people.
She kind of creates this whole atmosphere where you feel like you can say anything and it would just be fine, or we can all laugh it off.
Doesn't like to think that the world's been unfair to them. Just takes the hand they were dealt in life and gets on with it.
You make me happy.
I would describe you as kind and thoughtful,
Protective,
loyal,
obsessive,
funny,
quite a nosy person,
fun,
social,
very stubborn,
calm,
kind,
crazy,
smart,
trusting,
positive,
confident,
frustrating,
really happy,
spontaneous,
Whoever I am
outgoing,
in that moment, I
mood
can just do
lifter,
that.
stubborn,
relaxed,
you bring up the conversation and you make everyone around you feel so much better and you're just like a ray of sunshine.
I feel very relaxed and
any
comfortable.
situation.
I feel like I can be quite
Really
free.
I feel like I trust you.
Always
With my
make
secrets.
jokes
Have
about
when I'm around you,
Just a completely wondrous being.
trustworthy,
Go along with the flow, everyone
Crazy.
needs to make other people
Very
happy.
sweet.
You always like want your best for
Naive,
people as well.
Just for the
You say I have a problem with you and value friendship. Very like comforting person.
Hi, my name is Kate Wickstead, and what you just heard was my friends describing me as a person. I thought it would be nice for you guys to get a sense of my personality before I get into my academic achievements and goals. And the first part of this video will be discussing the initial engagement and application of the skills that I've learned. The first is presentation skills. I've never been a confident public speaker, but I did put myself forward to present for my group, which was a very big personal achievement for me. The second skill that I've learned is social skills. It's been even more important than usual to communicate with each other. We can't see each other, so even something as simple as switching your mic on and asking everyone how their week's been is a good place to start. Following on from that, I also have seen the importance of participation in the online class. Obviously our cameras are off, and when the tutor asks the question it's met with silence, it's even more awkward online than it would be in person, so it's important to participate as much as we can. It just makes the whole learning experience better for the students as well as the tutors. The next thing that I learned was how to brand myself, and I learned that through a few of the different tasks that we were set. The first of which being the logo creation task. You can see there a copy of the logo that I made and labeling all the different parts. Each part of the logo was meant to represent something about me, but I soon realized that a few of these characteristics were not ones that I would want to be branding. It's not a very good look, so that was an important lesson that I learned there. I don't really want to be advertising myself as potentially lazy or liking a bit of a gossip. It's just not very marketable assets. I also learned how to brand myself through making my self-portrait. I did a similar thing to the beginning of this video and asked a lot of my friends to describe how they saw me, and then from that I deduced how I wanted to be seen by others. The next thing that I learned was my unique learning style, and we did this in the first week by taking 2 tests, one by Honey and Mumford and another one by VART, and here I've just put the results of my 2 tests. The Honey and Mumford test said that I was a reflector and a theorist, split in equal parts, and the VART test said that I was a kinesthetic learner. Each of these I felt really described me as a person, so that was quite insightful. The next thing I learned was the importance of my at-home studio. I didn't give it much thought, but this year, because of the coronavirus, we're not able to go in as much and get as much studio time and access to the facilities. So it's quite important that our studios at home make up for that. We had a bit of a brainstorm and we thought that our studios would be more inspiring if we put up images that we like, maybe put some plants and put our phones on silent. Now for how starting my degree in graphic design communication has affected me as both a person and as a designer. My first 2 points here have already been referenced in the first section of this video. It's influenced the way in which I work because I better understand the way in which I work now through the Hanya Mumford and Bark test. It's also encouraged me to step out of my comfort zone, and an example of that is when I put myself forward to present my group's findings. Another way that it has affected me is that it has made me more aware visually of my surroundings, more aware of colours, typography, packaging. I even decorated my Christmas tree different this year. I made it more aesthetically pleasing. The third part of this video is my hopes and aspirations. My ultimate goal is to find an area of graphic design that I am passionate about and pursue it, and end up having a career where I enjoy it so much that it doesn't even feel like working. It just feels like I'm getting up and doing something that I love every day. More general goals, I would like to explore motion graphics, making work inspired by the world around me, inspired by new experiences, new knowledge, culture, develop and be proud of my personal brand, take creative risks, and finally, I'd like to network and get to know people in the creative industry, maybe get involved in a few live briefs. That would be really fun. The last bit of this video will address my fears and difficulties for this course and how I plan to overcome them. So here are just a few thoughts that I'm sure run through everyone's brain when they're trying to develop themselves and their personal brands. But here are some more specific difficulties and solutions that I came up with. So all the difficulties that I've listed here are a result of the coronavirus pandemic. The first is that due to the pandemic, it's been very difficult to engage in the social side of university. We didn't get a freshers week and we have to keep 2 meters distance. My solution to this is it hasn't stopped us from being social outside of university, but adhering to the rules. So we have gone out, even if you just go for a walk, you've just got to sort of persevere through the awkwardness because you can still socialize. The second issue that I outlined was something I've already addressed, but I'm putting it on there because it's still valid, is the struggle to engage in online class. The solution that I've put to that is to make sure you actively involve yourself as much as possible. Ask questions, leave comments, talk to people, because if you're communicating with people, it's a lot easier to stay engaged than when you're just quiet and watching. The third difficulty that I picked was the lack of access to facilities that we would usually be getting, and the solution that I found to that was to think of it as a challenge and use it to take advantage of just the everyday materials that you have. Instead of going to galleries which are closed, you can take your inspiration from books, TV, podcasts, music, anything that you've got around you really. The next one is procrastination and the lack of self-motivation that you can get. Going into uni every day feels more legitimate, so it's easier to motivate yourself, but without that it can be quite tricky. And the solution that I've found for that is to tell people my goals for the day so they can hold me accountable and make sure that I stick to them. The final difficulty that I outlined, and one that I've already addressed before, is the distraction. At home it's so easy to get distracted. You're not in a work environment, so it's difficult to get into that headspace, especially when you have things like your mobile phone to distract you. So again, my solution was to put it on silent so that you can get some focused work done. And thank you so much for watching.